Welcome to the NYREJ podcast. I'm your host, Rick Kaplan. My guest today is Frank Callahan. Frank is the president of Massachusetts Building Trades Unions, and Frank is part of an organization called Helmets to Hardhats, bring veterans to the unions or the trades. And Frank, how are you today?
Great. Thanks for having me on, Rick.
And tell us a little bit about this Helmets to Hardhats program.
Well, Helmets to Hardhats is a program that was initiated by the North America's Building Trades Unions, our national organization. And it was a Massachusetts connection. It was, at the time, the president was a guy by the name of Ed Sullivan from Boston, who put the program together in 2007 because he felt an obligation, as we all still do, to provide career opportunities in the construction industry and awareness of those opportunities to our veterans as they're exiting the service.
And this is for honorably discharged veterans.
That's correct.
And now this is is it for all the unions of the trades?
Yes, all the building trades unions. Again, we have a pretty high percentage of veterans in our ranks to begin with, but for some of them may not be aware of it. It started out as an awareness program on what the opportunities were, and it's really taken off. I mean, since 2007, there's been about 45,000 veterans have been placed in careers in the building trade unions. Here at Massachusetts, it's approaching 1,100.
Now, one of the things that people don't always understand is that, because since the 60s, I think a lot of families have been pushing their kids towards college, which is not a bad thing. But as a result, over time, they moved a lot of kids that might have had this decision to go into the trades that away from that. And the trades kind of got pushed away somewhat from career opportunities. So now a lot of kids are, especially if you're a veteran, you have a choice. You have that GI Bill that you can go to college or, find another career. And what you're saying is that you want them to come into the trades. And a lot of them probably do want to be in the trades.
Yes, college isn't for everybody. And we like to think of ourselves as the Ivy League of training in the construction industry. It's truly the best training opportunity you can get. In addition to the quality of the program, it's free, and you earn while you learn. You earn a lower wage as you progress through your apprenticeship program, which is anywhere from 3 to 5 years, but you still make a pretty good wage. It varies by trade, but you get quality health insurance, and you're contributing to a retirement, so you can retire with dignity after a lifetime of work, and you can access those GI Bill benefits for housing and other aspects of the cost of living while you're engaged in your apprenticeship.
And the thought of the trades, it's not like it was 30 years ago either. Safety is one of the changes, that a major change in the industry. Wages are a major change in the industry. I'm sure I'm missing some others. Maybe you can let us know what others am I missing? It's because a lot of changes.
Well, the benefit structure, it's not so much that it's changing, is the fewer and fewer people enjoy defined benefit pensions that we still have in the building trades. Those are self-funded with our contractors. We work very closely with our contractors, our employers, and those are joint programs, and they're among the best retirement benefits you can get, both a defined benefit pension and an annuity, which is what both together, which is typically what most people, if they do have an annuity or a 401k type of program, that's all they get. So, and lifetime learning.
And that's
and lifetime learning too.
Because retirement is nowadays is a scary thought, because you don't know about Social Security, what's going to happen with that. And now with the union, being a union worker, you have you have some kind of a guarantee of well, is it called a pension still? Or is
Yes, that's called it's not to get technical, but a Taft-Hartley defined benefit pension. We're a multi-employer program because of the nature of the industry. You don't work for the same employer all the time,
right?
typically in the construction industry. So those benefits are administered by a joint labor management fund, but
But
they're very substantial.
if you're a veteran, you also have that you have the a pension from the, well, depending on how long you've been in the military, you would
Mhm.
also have a pension from that as well. So I mean, you could end up being in a career as a trades worker for 20 years, 25 years, and retire and have a nice, healthy uh, fund coming in weekly or monthly.
That's what we're all about. It's making sure that people, number one, have the training and skills they need to earn that living, and then they enjoy higher wages and benefits on average because of those skills and their productivity that they bring to the job site every day, in addition to the top quality health insurance programs and, as you were discussing, a retirement with dignity after a lifetime of hard work.
Now, about how many veterans do you take in a year? Do you have an idea?
I don't know the exact number per year. I do know it's about 1,100 since 2007, just in Massachusetts. It's about 45,000 nationally. That varies. Uh, it's varied. I think we mentioned when we were talking offline that we had lost some federal funding for the program a number of years ago, but since then we've made it up with contributions from our national unions and our major contractor partners. So it's a fully funded program.
Now, why they would cut back on some of the funding, I'm not sure, because this is something that they're always talking about the unemployment rate, and this is something that keeps people employed, you know. But
Well, that goes back to the old fight over earmarks down in Washington. This is a good 10 years ago. So
yeah, we don't even want to go into that direction talking about what goes on in Washington. That's a completely different show altogether. So, if someone is interested in this organization, it's hard hats to helmets to hard hats for veterans, and all they have to do is they complete their time as they in the military service, get out, and they contact you or the organization.
well, they can go directly to Helmets to Hard Hats, which is their website addresses. It's one word with no periods or slashes. It's Helmets to Hard Hats, HELMETSTOHARDHATS.org. Or you can go to our website at massbuildingtrades.org, and there's a link to that program as well to learn more about it. And we're also in the process. We lost a good friend of mine about a year and a half ago, who was our local representative. He unfortunately passed, and we're in the process of interviewing people for a representative, not just for Massachusetts, but for all of New England. And that'll be, when you go onto the site, get into the portal, you'll get a contact back from the organization to assist you in navigating the process.
Now, when you say you go through a training, there's a apprentice type training that they would go through for, and how long is usually the training?
It varies by trade. It goes anywhere from 3 to 5 years. Certain trades have a 5-year apprenticeship program, and that's a combination of classroom training and on-the-job training. There's a certain number of hours you have to complete for each to move up to your first year to a second year. It's just like high school or college, moving through the process, and you earn more money as you progress through. We've got about 63 local unions in Massachusetts. Most of them maintain their own apprenticeship program. I was just at the IBW Local 103 last week in Dorchester. They've just rechristened their training facility, which was already world-class, but they pumped an additional $10 million into it to upgrade and to expand and to meet new technologies, on the uh, green technologies and technologies as are always evolving in the construction industry.
Yeah, if if you ever have toured any of these union facilities, you can see most of them, especially in Massachusetts, are world class.
Oh, they truly are. I always tell the story. We negotiated the offshore wind project labor agreement for Vineyard Wind, and we were having a bit of a tough time with the folks from overseas. They thought that's a mature industry over there, and we didn't have the people who knew how to do this type of work. And what really broke the ice is we gave them tours of all our facilities, and they were pretty blown away as we expected. And we were successful in reaching an agreement, and we're building that project as we speak.
Well, if you notice that when you drive down the Southeast Expressway, it's well, or 93. That's how old I am. I call it Southeast Expressway still. You see the Carpenters Union facility
Mhm.
right on the to the side of the highway, and also Local 103 is on the side of the highway. Both, Local 103, they have the windmill right
Right.
there. The Carpenters Union, that they have, you can see in the windows sometimes, they have the facility, the working facility right there as well,
That's right.
which is pretty impressive. That building alone, that Carpenters Union building. Now, from what I understood, that was built by a lot of it was built by all union workers, obviously.
Yeah.
And that came out like that's a gorgeous looking building.
Yeah, it really is. It's a beautiful building. And
Yeah.
I mean, those are two of the crown jewels that you mentioned, but we also have the laborers have a huge campus out in Hopkinton. The carpenters are also in Millbury, but you see, the IPW and Taunton. I could go on, but the facilities we have are truly world class. And as I said, they not just the folks from the wind industry, but we make a habit of hosting legislators and elected officials to educate them on this because there's a real lack of knowledge among the general public. And of course, for the purpose of today is for our veterans to make sure they're aware of those training opportunities and career opportunities.
Well, I'm hoping that if you're not a veteran and you're listening to this, that you would forward the information or send this link to a veteran that you know that might be looking for some kind of a career opportunity, because this is a career opportunity. It's not like a one shot, you build this and then you go on to something else. This is a career. All of the trades are.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Rick, because that's sort of a running joke we have with Governor Healy. I was with her yesterday, and that's part of the messaging and part of the speaking programs. And she sort of winks and she jokes that we've gotten them to recognize that these are about careers. It's not just a job. Unfortunately, that's a misperception in the general public that working in construction is something you do when you're home on summer break from college. It's much, much more than that. It's a higher level of skill, and they have great careers.
It's funny you mentioned that because a lot of young people that do go into summer jobs, like working as a apprentice carpenter or apprentice electrician or just a laborer, a lot of them enjoy it so much, being out and doing different projects and things of that nature, that they end up going into this instead of this finds their career path
We
for
do
them.
find that
You know,
even people post-graduation,
right.
we find them. Mhm.
But one of the things that we talked about a little before the interview was the feeling of accomplishment that people have when they're in the industry. When you work on a different project, and you work on lots of different projects when you're in the industry over many years, every time you're with your family, friends, or any acquaintance that you might meet, and you go by a building that you worked on, you have to mention, I worked on that. The sense of pride, and there's a simple sense of accomplishment you feel.
It really is, and you don't see many careers where you have that opportunity to really step back and look at what you've created and you've built and brought your skills to bear. It's we build everything from hospitals to power plants to things you don't see, tunnels. I guess you see those when you're driving through the Tip O'Neill Tunnel. But you name it, we build it. You know, as such, we're very involved in a lot of permitting. We get involved in the legislative process for public construction, private construction, hospitals, and it makes it very exciting. You could be working on a power plant one day, and you could be working at one of our world-class hospitals or universities a week or two later.
And that's one of the things that, one of the, the veterans that are interested should understand that, you have a little bit of a creative talent that you get out of this, as well as, an amazement of how a structure is built. Like you talk about that Ted Williams Tunnel. Every time I drive through that, I'm amazed how they worked in a tunnel that's under the water, and put something like that together. I mean, you have to really understand, engineering is I think I heard someone once say that engineering is like one of the best fields in the world, because you can almost design and build almost anything if you have that talent of engineering.
Right. And then of course you have to have the trade skills to make those engineering drawings
exactly
come to life. And you touched on the veterans too with that experience, but there's another aspect we found with veterans. It's the same sense of camaraderie and teamwork. Certainly getting up early in the morning and being out in the elements. It's a great fit, both for us and for them. It's really one of those things when you do the right thing every once in a while, you see the benefits, and it's really meshed together over the years, and it's been very successful, both for us in the building trades unions, for the industry, and certainly for our veterans.
And that's a perfect point, because I didn't think of it that way, but it's a good segue into a career, because you're coming out of the military where you are outdoors, have adventures and things like that, and it sort of leads into that same type when you get into a career as a trade union. So it's a great fit, I think. And like I said, if anyone is listening and they are a veteran and interested in getting into the trades, contact the Hardhats, Helmets to Hardhats program. If someone knows of someone that is a veteran, is coming out of the Army or the military of some kind, one of the forms of the military, and they want to become a trade worker or to have a career as a trade worker, contact the Helmets to Hardhats program. I think that they'll benefit quite nicely. So I want to thank you for coming on, Frank. I think this is a great organization. I'd love to see, veterans get paired up with this. I mean, they deserve to get something from us. We need to give them the benefits that they deserve. And you guys in the unions are doing that. You're stepping up. I appreciate that.
Well, thanks, Rick, for giving me the opportunity to get the word out. As we've said a number of times, our doors are open. We're there with welcome arms, and whatever we can do to help our veterans who've signed on the dotted line and stood on that wall for us, we're happy to do it.
And again, the website, Frank?
It's helmetstohardhats.org.
Okay, that's easy enough.
Right.
And your organization is the Massachusetts Building Trade Unions. And
That's
if
correct.
someone wanted to get a hold of someone in the Massachusetts Building Trades Unions, they can go to massbuildingtrades.org. also.
Yes.
And then that would also be able to give them the information if they need it as well.
There's a link to Helmets to Hard Hats on there, and certainly if we could direct someone in the right direction.
Well, it's very interesting, and I think it's a honorable thing that you guys are doing. And I'm sure the veterans that have taken the opportunity, they're appreciating it as well. We were speaking with Frank Callahan. He's the president of the Massachusetts Building Trades Unions, and he's also part of this Helmets to Hard Hats program. And he wants to try to get you veterans a nice career. So please contact them. Till next time, I'm Rick Kaplan. You've been listening to the NYREJ podcast.